the market is turning green, and that's a good sign for everyone. But at that time, I would like to take you to some documents. Now this is old one, believe me, it's old, but what it shows you is the right direction where we are heading right now. This is a recent document which shows World Economic Forum outlines multiple crypto assets, and in which in detail they have actually given it for Cardano, it for XRP, and especially for XRP it shows this. XRP boasts 1500 transactions per second, costs $0.0003 per transaction, and settles in 3 seconds. So when you get to see this, you can now they are citing back to World Economic Forum. So if you want to go back to the World Economic Forum website and look at this, inside them worldeconomicforum.org, you get organizations and you get to see Ripple highlighted there in partners section. How many of the other projects do you see like this, and how many of them do you see like this in the perspective which they have given it as an innovative tool which can be used for what? Why we need a common standard for moving money that's acting as a bridge currency. Now that document was presented in 2015 and right now it's 2021. Yes, we need to agree that the financial sector is a little bit slow, but right now in the market, if you are looking at the macro scenario for XRP, you get to actually see something really crazy. In wave 1 you did that all without all of these kind of huge news popping out, but now with a lot of competitors, competitors are popping up every day, but this project is standing out. This project is getting more adoption. They're expanding as much as possible, and this is what technicals show you right now. Technically, you're getting more and more bullish signals, right? We talked about this detailed in last video and we got a pump after that. We moved from there towards 0.5. A 10% move in a day is not a big deal, but that's the change which we are looking at, because right now we're at the bottom of support level, and when you get that bounce from that support zone, that's what you really want. Now let's actually go in detail, the zoomed in view, current affairs, the how the market is moving in a 4-hour chart, how it actually looks like in an hourly chart, daily chart, weekly chart. So kind of next couple of weeks what you can anticipate, next 3 months what you are looking at, and next year what you are looking at. So that's by the end of the market cycle, what are you eyeing at? By next 3 months, what you are going to see in the market. So when you use short-term charts, say this one is 12-hour chart, this one is a 4-hour chart. Now you can compare it with daily chart, then you can go look at the daily fluctuations, right? How the price actually moves. So in these, you kind of get to see that we are going to bounce, and this is just starting. And with the historical patterns, you look at the RSI, it was at the bottom, and the price was near the support and bouncing. Now it's the same. So it was not only once. You look at here, RSI was at the support, median support range, and the price was just above the moving average and the support zone, and it was just starting to move. Afterwards, it gets momentum. The price or the buyers gather momentum and pushes it to the upside. So let's actually dig in deep and discuss through this. Most of the investors in crypto really needs to look at what projects they are in. They do have to understand what's the daily volume for that. They do have to do this before the wave 2 is over. When you move in wave 2, you get microwaves, nano waves, and you need to understand how price is going to move. When you have an idea of the price, say right now it's 0.63, 0.65, it's going to go to the next resistance range 0.73, and then we may slow down a little bit and then move like different points of resistance. So for the same, you need to look at different assets in your portfolio, and when you actually understand that this particular asset in your portfolio has some kind of resistance zone as we are going ahead, now we are like, okay, if I'm trading, I'm looking at these points. If I'm an investor, I'm looking for different points to take profits. Now it depends on whether it's a long-term investment, it's a medium-term investment, and the type of investor you are. But fundamentals of each project is really important, right? Each and every project should be selected based on the fundamental itself. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. This is one of the last video which we did, and at that time we were somewhere just below 0.6 and we were kind of highlighting this, right? We are waiting for the MACD to cross to the upside and the price to break higher. And yeah, we know that we have overhead resistance and we needed a break above 0.64, for which we were waiting for. Right now we went there. Even as of now, we are just flirting with that level. You can see this. Now, this is not something which we are making it up, right? This is something which we have. Now the chart here was posted before that, a day before that, for my patrons, because in the Patreon I post chart on a regular basis, give them all the idea which they need for the next 3 months, next 6 months, for different assets and all. So if you want to look at that, you can look at the link in the description for Patreon. Now, when you step back in and look for different assets, you can just use this website which is called Paprika. Now, I don't have any tie-up with them. You go to return rates and look at what happened in last quarter. Now we can take it to the top or the bottom and then look at okay, some coins just popped too much. Now, if you missed that, okay, fine. Now, what are the other opportunities in the market? You go and look at them with their daily volume, with their fundamentals, and analyze yourself. And if you see there is an opportunity that is going to change your life, because I personally see in just this screen, you're going to get multiple assets which are going to perform an average of 15x in next 6 months. For some, that's too small. For some, that's okay. For some, that's great. Now, I'm from a category where, you put in that day, you get 15-20x, a minimum in next 3 to 5, 6 months, and then you pull off and move into a different asset when you're trading, and that again does a 10x. So now that becomes 150x for you. So if you are rotating, you need to understand when to rotate, not short-term rotation, because that's hurting a lot of people. I understand that. Now that's why we say technicals give you the right point of understanding. We saw a double bottom without moving to the downside, and right now retesting the previous top. Now that top happens to be just below the moving average, which is the 50-day moving average on a daily, so it's acting as a resistance. But understand this, RSI broke to the upside. RSI is trending to the upside. So as far as you can see this, in the MACD, you are moving to the upside, you're bouncing as we anticipated. If you go back in those videos, you'll understand what we discussed and what's happening in the market right now. So here, you got a double bottom, but in the RSI, you got a higher low. So that's a bullish divergence there, after which we got this break to the upside in price. Now that's actually great, right? So let's actually see what the charts really need to show us. This is XRP USD on a 3-day, and you got a big candle, engulfing candle, eating other two of them. Now, when we had that at first, before the breakout of the last day, I told you guys we can anticipate something like this because we are going to have a movement here with that engulfing candle. I explained it, right? So those who were prepared are already in the market with a little bit less average, or those who wanted to average down got that opportunity to average down. Now, what's happening right now, you have a standard deviation here where you wicked above, but you could not actually go higher from there. You came back into the range. So right now we are looking for key. Will we do that, or we are going to test the moving average? So on a 3-day, now you are looking for the 50-day moving average, which is around $0.9. Now in the meantime, as you go high, you do have resistance. So as you pop through each resistance, you're going to see price fluctuation and the volatility increasing. So here in BTC, it's also breaking to the upside, and it just retested the recent highs which we put in. So given that, if we are breaking above and testing the moving average here, which is a new high, that trend is changing. You put in a higher high, then you came back, put in a lower high, so the trend is kind of confusing. You don't get to see whether it's going to the upside or to the downside, but it's still in a consolidation after a run to the upside. But now in general, if it makes another high here, you got a double bottom with a higher high that is bullish. So you're going to look at recent tops, say 60, 65k, and if you're a trader, just try for 55, 60, that would be better. But if you're a long-term guy in Bitcoin, now I would be amazed with those who are in Bitcoin for long-term from here, considering the ROI will be much lesser than what you get in the fundamental coins, which are being highlighted based on the use case, right? So in that scenario, you need to look at assets which are double bottoming, which are going to pop. We don't know when it's going to pop, but it really looks like it's going to pop soon, because it's showing you the double bottom signal which it showed you previously. After this drop, you got the double bottom, you went higher. Now if that's happening here, you also have resistance. Now this one here is 0.73. Great, that was acting as a resistance from a long time. But you look at the entire resistance zone, the support resistance zone, you kind of see this. Okay, you were getting supported here from 0.45 and a close near to 0.6. So if you take that zone, you're right now in that zone. Previously you came into that zone, you hit that roof and slowed down. Right now you broke higher, you went high, you're coming back down, and it's not your roof right now, it's your floor. You're hitting that. So as you bounce through this, yeah, there would be slowed down, because a lot of micro traders who trade against the high frequency trading bots, and they're going to get liquidated soon. So anyway, when that happens, you're going to see more liquidations in the market, and if you are going against the market is going to kick you out. This is a zoomed in view 4-hour chart of XRP to show you what's literally happening. Now, yeah, we know that this is a double bottom, which we just explained in a macro perspective. However, in a short-term chart, this is what you actually see. You can see a bullish pattern, falling wedge usually breaks to the upside, but before the break, it actually did a capitulation here. Most of them who don't understand what's happening with the price, the movement in the market, RSI bouncing at a steady horizontal, support, they would be kind of, no, the price is actually going down, because that's how price works. Here you're trending to the upside, the MACD is trailing day, right? It's actually staying at a level where it's resisting to the upside, but it shows you it's a bull flag. Now if that bull flag breaks to the upside, now you're stepping into a 12-hour chart from the 4-hour chart. You get to see this. You had a break to the upside, which shows you that was a higher high. Now getting a higher high at a time when RSI is steadily moving up with a parabolic nature to the upside and waiting for the next bounce is bullish, because right now in short-hour charts you have room to run. So in some it's up to $9.9. It's in some it's 0.95. So say 0.85 to 0.95. As we are looking here, in between 0.85 to $1, $1.5, $1.05 is where you're going to get. So look at chart in a way that you understand it on short term, medium term, and the long term. Now what do you actually see in this long term? It's so easy, but let's look at it. You can just pause the video and ask yourself, what do you precisely see as bearish? What do you precisely see as bullish here? If that's me, I would be answering like, okay, fine. On the bearish side of this, we got continuously 3 red candles. Fine, I agree. We don't usually used to get that in a bull market, at least in the last phase. But in the wave 1, you definitely had like 5-6 months of consolidation, where you were going to the downside, creating a new low, and then moving upside. Now, here on the bull part of this, you get to see this. We were resisted in this range for a long period of time, and then you bursted through and you come back. Now when you're coming back, the 200-day moving average is acting up. My mistake. That's the 50-day moving average acting as a support and keeping you afloat. And at the same time, that happens to be a support range. That support range now is showing you multiple cases. One, even though you have 3 months of red candles, the momentum to the downside is reducing. You're slowing down at that support right now, which happened to be a support here, resistance here, resistance again, a resistance here. It wicked through that, but it did not go up. But this time it went up. Now it's coming back to support and usually that bounces. And a monthly chart, when it shows you that it's going to bounce, you need to pay attention, because that bounce can be like this, a monster wave to the upside. What if it goes 85x like this? What if it goes 30x like this? That's monster. Even that 30x is going to take you towards $20. And if you're missing that, you don't have another chance in next 5 years to get something similar. Now, let's add in some support zone, trend, pattern analysis and understand, okay, what really is happening and what are the odds the market is showing you. Now we saw that, okay, you have a support range, you plotted that, you have a trend to the upside. Previously, when you had that trend, you broke to the upside. Generally, when you have such a trend in RSI and you are at the bottom and fundamentally nothing changed, that's when you go in and buy. At least that's what I do. If the fundamental is not changing and the price is down and it's back in a support range where it is trending higher, for me, that's a buy the dip moment. Now, when you're buying the dip, it's hard to understand which is the exact bottom. It doesn't actually matter where you buy. If it's somewhere close to the bottom or the standard deviation of that bottom, that's excellent. Now, most of the people really get confused by that. So I really want to take you guys to the real-time chart, say for XRP, and show you this. So you kind of just zoom out and look at what's really happening there, right? You kind of plot it and you see, okay, this is the trend. Now, what's the standard deviation there? You have one to the downside here where you went down and closed. You have one to the upside here where you wicked in between, but you closed there. Now we are taking that parallel line and saying, okay, you actually came back to that standard deviation positive and then the negative one, right? That's the standard deviation. So you kind of get that idea which I'm saying here. Now we jump back into short-term charts and you see this trend. It's breaking to the upside. You kind of understand, okay, fine. As you break to the upside, you now need to get through that range of 1.05 and then reach 1.7 to $2 mark, which was resistance last time. Now, if you actually take into account that the XRP BTC pair hasn't started to the upside and is still above the support range which we discussed last time, that's really bullish. This is a use case which you can see, meaning XRP to the BTC pair is still holding its line when you see the fundamentals shifting. Fundamentals is really shifting for the utility. Now what they are highlighting here is the utility. What they are highlighting here, talking about this, is definitely about the utility. So how many of you actually understand the utility is going to kick in at a time when most of the people would be saying, no, the price is not going to do anything, or at a time when the price has done enormously well? I think that's going to come in, because when the price goes up and positive news comes, big guys need to sell, take the profit, and small guys need to be trapped. That's how the market usually works. So if you believe that concept, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's what's happening in the market for a long time. So now you kind of get prepared. And as you get prepared in XRP BTC pair, where are you now? Now a lot of people get mistaken by this. It's simply one question. In investing, you make money by doing buy low, sell high. In this one, what do you foresee? Do you see whether the price is at the bottom? Do you see the price at medium point or above it? For me, if I'm looking at this, there was a time when we were discussing this, when we were here, and I told you guys, we are going to bounce back higher. We were at 0.2, we were at 0.15, 0.12, doing all those depression, right? Mental depression, crypto depression, whatever you call it, was during that time. And right now, we're slowly bouncing from that. Now, we are at a range which was acting as a base for a long time. We're still inside that basin. We need to actually break higher and move higher. If you take a horizontal line here and plot it here, you will definitely understand what's happening in the market. Because if you look at this, say for example, here it was acting as a support. Here it turned into a resistance. It went acted as a support, right? Support. You broke below, it become a resistance. Now, what are you eyeing it? Making a higher low and then making a higher high, which should be a break higher to the new level. So as you get that, you do have to understand these are just technical stuff which you're looking at, but it gives you a clear indication that you are making a rounded bottom. How many of you believe that stuff is going to change? And when it changes, you don't want to be in an area where you're going to miss out completely. You're looking for assets with high volume, high liquidity, so that you can get in and get out when it is required and still make a ton of money. Because if you're entering into different assets which doesn't have those, you're going to get trapped in. Even if you have profits, you may not be able to take it out. Just watching profits in your portfolio and taking it out is different. If you see your profit drain with the next wave going down, that's hard part. You need to take profit at the right time. You're not just putting money into the market just for the namesake. You want that profit to come back to you, right? So that's what you're looking at. You see the long-term trend changing. If you want to understand what's happening, I compared using multiple charts previously. Again, I'm going to show you the CA coin. You had this kind of stuff previously in the market where you had the rounded bottom and then skyrocketing in price. You had the rounded bottom, then the skyrocketing in the price. Again, it's a repeating pattern in crypto. And one of the PDF which I put out for my Patreon showing repeated patterns. Now there are a lot of different patterns, but the one of them with the higher probability is this one, and I'm giving it easy for you guys, right? You get to see this and you understand, okay, that's something changing, unless you move through and put in a new low, right? So when you came back here below the resistance, previous resistance turning into a support now and then breaking below it, that's a sign, okay, we are going to go into a bear market. But for most of them, you don't actually need to see that. Once you reach like this, you already understand, okay, that's like 2700x. Crazy stuff. So most of the assets which are right now at 500x or 1000x, they only have room to do like 3 to 4x. Whereas the assets which we are looking at, if it goes to its anticipated wave 2 target, you're going to get 15, 20, 25x, right? Then wave 3, that's 5, 10x more. So now you get 250, 300x. So you can choose which assets to move into. If you're moving into an asset with 3 to 5x, that's completely up to you. If you want higher returns, you can look at the higher returns point of different assets. That's why we do the monthly digest, which actually gives you the information about what assets are going to do what ROI in next 6 months, in next wave. So guys, if you definitely received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. That supports the channel a lot. If you received value, please do keep in mind you can get extra value for your portfolio with a lot of different assets. Only if you have a lot of different assets, you can come in and check out what those assets are going to do for your portfolio in next 6 months, next 1 year. You can get that idea before you rebalance it, seeing market pumping. You see another coin go up and you're like, okay, I'm going to dump this and move in there. And then you see this one pumping. So don't be that guy. Be the guy who takes the educated guess with the calculated stuffs. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.